What's up, everybody? Hello. It's so good to be back. Hello, everybody. Good to see you guys on the chat. What's up, Lucas? What's up, Jacob? Hello, Arif. So great to see you guys. I've missed you guys. I feel like I haven't done this in a long time, and it's only been like a couple weeks. But I was traveling and I couldn't do it during last week, and I missed it so much. I missed the time to just relax and create a little bit. I missed it so much, and but it was great too to travel. I got to go to LA and New York and speak for Adobe Next. It's an event that is targeting students and professors from universities across the United States and helping them understand a little bit more how to use AI and the new technologies inside of the creative process. And I got to speak a little bit about that because, as you guys know, and you've seen me do this so much, I enjoy using AI in a way that I can direct it as much as possible, as you see in my process every single week. So that was really cool to be able to speak to all these people and talk a little bit about that. What's up, Marsha? Good to see you. It's great to have you guys. But it was a good time. It's always fun to travel. It's always obviously a lot of work as well. To be ready for these talks and to travel. But I always enjoy it so much and can't complain, honestly. With my friends, I got to see some friends. I got to miss the family as well a little bit for a few days. But I'm back and I'm ready to create and I'm ready to keep going. So I'm so happy that you guys are joining me here in the chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for saying hi too. I really appreciate it. And we're going to be going into Discord and checking out some of y'all's works from last week and from this week. Because I know that you guys submitted some things. So we're going to be taking a look at them. If you have a new submission that you want to submit before we go into it or during the day today, please do so. I still want to see it. And I still want to say hi to you all on the on Discord as well. What's up, Jenny? So good to see you. Yeah, so I'm going to switch my camera over to that so we can take a look. And then we can go from there. So, yeah, we have a few submissions. This one from AC. I don't know AC's real name, or I don't know your name. I just see the initials here. But we're seeing, thank you for your feedback. Made this Spider-Man movie trailer still. Just working on textures, color grading. Hope you all like it. As always, welcome feedback. Awesome. So we have a really cool, let me see the difference between those two images over here. I'm trying to understand if they worked on, yeah, they made this one with the textures and all of that. Sweet. And it came from the still of the movie, which is really rad. Okay, so it looks super cool. I love the vintage look of the comics. I've been reading some comic books. I'm turning to see if I have any here, but I've been reading some comic books. I've never read comic books in my life for some reason. And I've been reading Invincible, and I've been reading Battle Beast, and I also been reading Watchmen. I've been reading another one that's called The Council of the Frogs. And it's so cool because you can just pick up these comic books and read through them like in a few minutes. And it's a really cool story. The art is incredible. So this reminds me obviously of that. And I love the way you're applying. That's kind of like the stress or the RGB kind of displacement on the red. It's really cool. I love it. I feel like one thing that I would have done to improve this a little bit more is to lean, because you have some distortions here that are happening naturally around the red and the blue over here, especially here in the middle. I would have kind of like lean into it even more and make some bigger kind of like half tone kind of texture behind Spider-Man, especially so that Spider-Man comes out even more in the letters. So these halftone circles that we're used to seeing on print, making those really big behind him, I feel like it would have been super cool addition to this that would have taken it to the next level. But I love how much you're like distressing these things and making them kind of flat and destroying them a little bit. I feel like this seal over here would have been cool to see it being a little more realistic, and then these things are tearing through them. Little details like that to like next level this that we just keep adding time to this. But otherwise, an amazing artwork here. Thank you for submitting. I love it. All right, we have this artwork from C. And it says Fest Post and Challenge, I created a cover of a city from scratch and of what I wanted. Currently, the colors are not perfect due to my average paper, and city is currently paper. But I want to have a real printed. Okay, awesome. So it looks like, oh, okay, cool. So you mocked it up, not mocked it up, but actually printed on this, which is really cool. And it looks like the colors are a little faded on the print. Yeah, there is especially when doing these bright colors. What's up? Welcome. Good to have you in the chat. What's up? What's up? Yeah. So when having these bright colors, it's hard sometimes to get these colors. Although it looks like you have like CMYK colors going on here. So I would definitely make sure that you using CMYK in your computer instead of RGB to create this, and you should be getting something a little bit more similar to the print, because it looks in the print you have a more red approach. You're probably using RGB. This is a I love Jinx. It's a cool show on Netflix. What is it called? I forgot the name of the actual show, but I love the character and I love how chaotic it looks, and I feel like this is a good homage to that. So good job on this. Super cool. I love that. And I would say that make sure that you're working in CMYK. I love what you're doing here. I'll give you one critique. I always forget sometimes to give critique. Moving maybe the subject's face more to the middle, it looks like you're centering your artwork around the shape of the head, from the hair to the end of the head, where you should really be centering around the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. So this should be the center of your artwork, not this whole thing. So there's a difference between true center and visual center, that if the center is not visually good, it doesn't matter that it's actually center on the artwork. I don't think that makes sense. But you should be looking at visually centering what makes sense, instead of like trying to make it center in the whole thing. So yeah, in this case, I would have centered the face a little bit more and given that a little bit more of a center stage look. And then also maybe do this hair in front of the letters and play with that. Maybe the bottom one is behind her, the front one is in front of it, and you have a little bit more play with that, as well as this splatter. I would have probably put some in front of the text and some behind, adding a little bit more of depth, and then the design feels a little bit more dynamic. So that would be my Arcane is a show. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I forgot. I always forget the name of things, but thank you for that. Arcane, that's right. So yeah, I would do that. Just we're mixing that a little bit more. Hello, Mag. Hope you're doing mine. Having lunch while watching. Yeah, I don't mind, man. Thank you for being here. You're working on something and it crashed in Photoshop. Yeah, if you have it, please submit it. And thank you for being here, Dino. What's up? You'll upload it during the week, and then we'll check it out during the weekend. We'll check it out next week. But good job on these. C. Great job. Timo is your name, maybe. And yeah, work on CMYK. Maybe mix some of these things. I love what you're doing here with this whole Arcane vibe. Okay, Carlos Jimenez, what's up, man? I don't know if you're here today, but thank you for submitting this. It's a forced experimental with some of the techniques you show us in last stream. They work really well. The separation of colors frequencies has many interesting applications. Pretty cool stuff. All right. So yeah, really cool. It's cool to see you playing into the pixels, playing into the color separation things, and kind of playing with that. I made it in that artwork that I did that week. So like after I looked at it, it looks like this guy's beat up or something. But it's, I guess my point was to show this color separation and how you can play with it. And I love how you applied it here. It's way more beautiful and way more delicate. And it's super cool the way you're playing with the shapes behind her head. Super, super cool work. I love it. I love the way that it's looking. I would say that, maybe adding a texture on top of the whole thing, like a noise texture, would probably blend this a little bit more together so it doesn't look as plasticky as it does now. And if you're leaning into the plasticky, maybe making it even more plasticky looking. But I love this, and I guess that's my critique. The other thing is like these shapes that you have behind the head over here look really cool. But I would say that they could almost look like a bow, like the person's wearing a bow behind their head. So maybe committing to that idea or making it a different shape that doesn't really kind of have so much of a visual impact on the piece. But otherwise, amazing work. I love it. There's always things to improve in everybody's work. So I try to give some constructive feedback, and, you know, hopefully you guys take it in that way. I'm not trying to say, you know, that the artwork is bad in any way. I'm just trying to give a little bit, oh, maybe try this, try that. But otherwise, I mean, the artwork looks amazing already. So I'm just giving a little bit of feedback. Toying with all things color range, shadows, midtones, and highlights, says Marsha. Thank you, Magdiel, for the inspiration. Absolutely, Marsha. Yeah, I see that, you know, your style is so, like, you always have the same styles. It's easy to see when the artwork is yours. And it's cool to see you playing a little bit with that in a little bit more subtle way. And I love how beautiful this is and how subtle it is. I love the autofocus little dots behind it over here. And it seems like in a cool little image that's just, you know, more subtle like you normally do in your work. And I love that. And I love that you're playing with that too. I love how you're applying the balance between these two, the dots over here and the dots over here as well. All the flowers have a lot of balance. And it's something that I see that you do really good at. It's like balancing everything that you put into your artwork, where everything feels very symmetrical and the center of attention goes to the metal. So really cool work, Marsha. I love it. Thank you for submitting this, and thank you for playing with that technique. Really, really cool. Dino says it looks like him after finishing a project at 4 a.m. I think you're referring to my artwork, right? To this one. Yeah. That's what I feel like sometimes when finishing work super late. What's up, Annie? Good to see you in the chat. Hello. Okay, so really cool work, Marsha. I love this, and I love that you're playing with some new techniques and seeing how it fits into your style, right? That's kind of what we've been talking about a lot of here on the show. It's like, it's not only like understanding how things work and kind of like getting them and running with it, but it's also how to apply them within your own kind of style and your own perspective. That's the beauty of this, right? What I do and what you guys do can have a totally different meaning, like applied to it. All right, we have this another artwork from CE. What's up? I love that. And I see that you're doing a little bit of like a logo play and word play. And, you know, I love that you're exploring different things. Like the other artwork that you had over here was more, was more on the designy, like illustration border between design and illustration, and very graphic. And this one feels a little bit, it still has the same playful letters, but I love how you're exploring different things. And it looks like a smiley face. So that's a really cool little thing. And we have artwork from Lucas. I don't know if Lucas is here. I can't remember. Yeah, I saw him at the beginning. What's up, Lucas? Okay, this is my piece for the week. I tried exploring some new ideas and ended up really liking how it turned out. This time, again, I was inspired by Mac's latest artwork. It's not a secret that Mac has always been a big inspiration for me, and really happy to share and exchange ideas with you guys every Thursday. Man, that's awesome. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. I love this, man. I love the pose. I like how you did this kind of like the artwork behind it. So cool. But I love this pose. I feel like it's so strong, and I love this flower too. And the signature inside of the flower is super cool with your name on it. Man, super cool work. I love your use of color, and I love how limited you are with your color on this. I think one thing that would change about this is that I would, I feel like in a way I like this homage that you're doing to my artworking here, and within the context of the show and what we're doing here is really cool. But at the same time, I feel like the stuff behind your artwork, your silhouette of your person, is probably was taking away from it the most. I feel like you have such a strong silhouette and so cool looking that this circle and this rectangle and even this big shape behind it is kind of taking away from it a little bit. I would have probably gotten rid of all the stuff in the back and just leaving the silhouette of the person being the thing that just takes the show. Or maybe even some of these flowers that he's holding behind them, like a little field of flowers, like really big. Like I imagine them being like around the canvas, like this, and maybe he's leaning into one of those flowers a little bit, but you keep the same monotone kind of like vibe as you have on your silhouette. And I feel like that, could improve it a little bit, but like I said, I'm giving feedback here based on a little bit of what I think and what I would do. But this artwork is amazing, as everybody's telling you already, and as you can see. So congratulations on another amazing artwork. It looks super cool. And I love that you guys are like, supporting each other, giving each other likes and stuff. I think I already did that. They took it away by accident. Yeah, I love that. All right. So you guys have the photo that I sent last week, just showing you guys that I was out. And then we have a submission by Arif today. What's up, Arif? Okay, the original photo is here from On the Splash, messing around with some Magdiel inspired depth. I wanted to see if I could make an ancient stone feel like a modern poster. All right. Really cool. Okay, I see what you mean with that, and I see that you've done a few submissions like this where you're like dividing the canvas and exploring different things in one side or another. So I like that you have that going and you've kept that going. Have you tried, Arif? I think on the last show we touched on using Firefly, right, and the textures in Firefly to put on top of the photos. I would test this out with this idea. Maybe you have your subject like this, and then the other half we go into. Remember on here. Let me go back to. I'm inside of Firefly, and we've taken a long time to this. It's already 3. I mean, for me, it's 3, almost 20. So we've taken almost 20 minutes to go through y'all's works. But I feel like we needed it. It's been a long time, so I'm happy that we're doing that. But yeah, this artwork right here, or these prompts right here that we had, I feel like it would be really cool for you to like take one of these prompts over here, maybe this one with the stone, and then have this photo of this girl, and then use this prompt at the same time, and then have those two versions come together in a way similar to this artwork up here by, I think it was by Lucas, or was it by, I'm trying to remember who it was by Frank, maybe, that did the he used something similar to create an artwork a couple weeks ago. Let me see. Man, that's when my hair was long. Check it out. Okay, let me see if I can pull up the work that I'm thinking of. Yeah, this one by Frank. Yeah, so the way that he did this, where he's like, he makes a photo with some of those, maybe mixing that photo with the stone and then doing a blend together between the two photos would be really cool. Lucas, I'm glad you like the idea. Yeah, I love that you have that. Maybe you can go into that and then share it next week. I think that would be really cool. So yeah, Arif, I would do that. I would test out the stone thing. I like how you did the black and white, trying to match that same thing. But I would go ahead and do that to where it's like a little bit more realistic on the face and then merging both of them. But good job, man. Thank you for submitting another week. I think it's really cool. And I see you adding more and more layers as you go and learning even more and more. So I love that. I love that you're exploring so many things. Okay, awesome. So Dino, you owe some work for next week. I would love to see it whenever you have it. And everybody else that wants to submit, I'd love to see your work. Lucas, we look forward to maybe seeing that version number 2 of that artwork. I think that would be really, really cool. And yeah, let's jump into what I had prepared for today. I had these astronaut photos. Since we came back to Earth on that mission that took place, I thought it would be really cool to kind of like work with the astronaut photo that maybe the astronaut is falling. And then what I did in this episode is that I changed my screen so that we always see the poster on the left side here. And let me make my window a little bit smaller. There you go. You guys don't need to see me that much. Or maybe what I'll do is that I'll move it over here. How's that? So that way you can see the artwork. So I realized that I'm always like working like this big sometimes in the show, so you guys don't see what's happening. So now you guys can see whatever change I make to this artwork over here is going to show on the main artwork, and you guys will be able to see it regardless of the size that I'm working on. And I feel like that's cool. It's a little bit better of a view. All right. The poster looks promising. Yes, it does. Let's get into it. Okay, so yeah, I have these two images. This is what I'm thinking. Let me give you guys a little bit of like what I'm thinking for both of these. So for this one, I'm thinking that the astronauts literally hitting the ground like this, something like this, and then maybe we have the ground. I'm gonna sketch out what I'm thinking. Okay, it's red, so it's going to look creepy. Let me change it to blue. I'm thinking like, you know, we have this kind of like a kind of splash, like he's hitting the ground like that. Maybe a little bit more like this. Yeah, and then we have all this color coming from this thing that feels like very dramatic, coming out like that. Yeah, something like that. So it's like, yeah, we're seeing all this happen over here. So that's concept number one. So it'll be something like this. And then we'll do some colors on this thing, and then we'll do an environment around it. And the cool part will be like the coloring over here. So that's idea number one. Idea number two, we have this other astronaut over here. Let me remove background so we can have it without any background. Perfect. Look at that. Isn't that simple and easy? And then this one, I want to name this thing Back on Earth. So maybe on this one we do maybe some lines like this. So we elongate this guy a little bit like this. We elongate him. And I don't know what else we could do. Maybe we could do to where the helmet thing, the glass on the helmet is melting up like this. Don't you love when I sketch using my mouse like this, guys? So nice. All right, maybe something like that. So it's like melting up. We have another melting one over here. Yeah, so maybe we can do something like this. We're like melting up on that part, and then we're stretching these things. Look at that. That's already looking cool. It's a nice little concept over here. So those two ideas, what do you guys think? You guys, do you have a preference? Do you have a preference on what you would do? I don't know how to, can I do start a poll? Perfect. So 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm gonna start a poll so you guys can vote on idea 2. So this is idea 2, and this is idea 1. So I'm gonna start poll right now. Boom. Did it work? Do you guys see the poll? You can vote. All right, go ahead and vote if you are if you're able to. Go ahead and vote which idea you want me to do. Okay, idea 2 is that one. Idea 1 is this one. 1, 2. 1 and 2. I feel like I kind of want to do idea 2 better, but you know, I'll be down to do whichever one you guys think. Remember, this is idea 1. And that is idea 2. I'm trying to see if I can see the poll happening down here. I see the votes on 2. Okay, we only have a couple votes. It's coming in. Idea 1 and idea 2 over here. Sweet. Sweet. Okay. All right. So I'm with you. I think idea 2 is a little bit better. Let me see. Idea 1, idea 2. All right. I guess we'll do idea 2 then. We'll roll with that. And we didn't get a lot of votes, but I think it's good. I like the second one better. I do too. I feel like it has a little bit more potential. And maybe we can make it, we can do something colorful or something at the top. I I would say this: if while you guys are at it, if you can go ahead and thumbs up the live stream, I feel like it helps also for other people to be alerted that it's happening, and it could actually add some new people to it. So go ahead and do that as well if you're able to. Just give it a thumbs up. All right, I'm gonna end the stream, end the poll, and then we can. I guess we'll go with idea 2. Tiny bit more more popular. No, a lot more popular. 71% to 29%. Change my mind on number 2. Okay, sweet. Awesome. Okay. And thank you guys for liking the video. I appreciate it. Okay, so sweet. We'll go with idea number 2. Let's do it. Let's do this idea. I kind of like this sketch. It came out pretty good. So a couple ways that we can do this, and let's start with just the simplest way that we can do it, which is elongating the kind of the pixels. So you want to go ahead and select like 1 pixel. Like for example, like here I'm selecting, you see the width, I don't know if you can see it, but the height of the selection is literally 1 pixel. So when you do that and you do it right on the edge, or you do it around here, you can either, the first way to do this would be to copy paste it, and then you have that individually than your guy. And then when you can stretch it like this, you'll get this texture that is coming out of there. And as you can see here in our master, it's coming out of the same area, and it looks really nice. So yeah, this is the way to do it, and it also keeps it individually than the rest of the things. We have our sketch here that we can reference, but also I just made the sketch really quickly, so it's really not have to be something that we follow completely. So I'm going to make another selection here of 1 pixel, and I'm going to copy paste. If you paste sometimes and it moves, like here, like it moved a little bit, what you can do is that you can copy and then go paste in special place and paste in place. And that way, when you paste it, it's going to paste exactly where you copied from. So it's not going to move. I don't know how many times you guys have to, I've had to like copy something and then place it exactly where I had to place it. And it just takes a while sometimes. So, okay. Duplicate that. Perfect. And then we have something cool like that. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Let's do the same things on the fingers. I'm going to do a small, tiny selection over here of around 1 pixel to 2 pixels. Maybe 1 pixel would be nice. Sometimes it's hard to get the 1 pixel thing. I know you can also click on it and type it out. But, it's copy, and then I'm going to paste in place. Sweet. By pressing also Shift, Command, V. And then Command T to transform, and then we're going to drag it up. Okay, in this case, it's like, because I did it right on the edge, you can kind of see it. It's like almost like a solid color. Sometimes I like to duplicate it too. And then I'm going to show you how to next level this in 1 second. Maybe we'll do a bigger one, because all of those are so tiny, they're kind of hard to see. So maybe here on the pants, we can do one. The cool thing about this is like when we make a selection, like for example here, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Let's do it that way. Then I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste, and then I'm going to select and drag it up. Boom. The cool thing about this is that it looks like it's going in front of the back like that. And it's stretching this right here, is matching with that perfectly as well. So that look right there is super cool. And it's so simple to do too. You only have to have a little bit of a good taste to kind of manipulate that. I think 2017, yeah, it really is. This 2017 vibe. I do have a few posters like this actually that look pretty similar to this from that time. So I don't know if you guys have been following me or following my work for that long, but I have a few posters that, in fact, I have one that I think they did this exact same technique as I'm doing here. It's just I kind of like when I see something like this, I feel like I tend to gravitate towards that idea. And it's something that I was processing last week too. I was seeing a book cover from a book that I really liked, and it looked a lot like one design that I made back in 2017 or so. And I was like, maybe they saw my design and they copied it, right? And that's what I thought at first. But then, thinking through it, it's like if you have an astronaut and you have an idea of space, or you have an idea of like isolation, or like being stranded somewhere, normally you're going to execute the same type of results, because good ideas are just out there. And at the end of the day, they just show up for people that are trying to look for them. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, if I give you guys an asset and I give you the same kind of prompt, you probably would come up with the same kind of like execution, because it's kind of like what you would do, right? So sometimes it's really cool to see that, and other people, like same ideas showing up for different people that are disconnected completely, but we landed at the same idea because we had the same like type of prompt or type of ideas to generate the same thing. And when I say generate, I don't mean like AI. I mean like to come up with an idea, right? Cool. So takes a little bit of time to do each one of these things, but it just looks like it's expanding. And to next level this. Also, I also see your work with, okay, yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah, Dino talking about the Photoshop splash screen. Yeah, it's so cool to see that. It caught me by surprise. I don't close Photoshop that often, to be honest with you guys. I keep Photoshop open a lot of time because, I'm always working on Photoshop. So I close it every once in a while. I should be restarting my computer more often, but sometimes I don't. And I got to admit, sometimes it caught me by surprise. I open Photoshop and I see the splash screen. I'm like, oh, shoot, I forgot I did that. I didn't forget, but does that make sense? Like I see it, I'm like, oh, damn. That actually happened, and I'm so happy about it. But thank you, man. Cool. All right, so let's do another one here, and then we can maybe start flowing into like the actual fun parts of these, right? How we're going to be doing the floating thing, and how to see. I need 1 pixel. Sweet. And also how we're going to be adding some color or something special to these, right? We cannot just make it like this. We have to have something else happening here. Okay. Let's see if we do. Yeah. We have two ways to make this. We either go the old school way, or we go the AI way. So AI, I can probably do AI really quickly because it's literally so simple. Just typing make the black glass look like it's melting. Follow sketch. Blue color sketch. Let's see if it does it. So that should follow literally my sketch that I made a second ago to make that. The other way would be to make a selection that has this shape and use the kind of like this smudge tool to really get in there. Use the liquify tool a little bit and get into it. I feel like that could be a good way to do it as well. Let's see what it did here. Did it do anything? It did not do anything. Wow, it makes some cool little things, but it doesn't match at all. It doesn't match at all with our astronaut. Look at this. That's wild. I do like how cool this kind of melting thing looks, but it doesn't match at all with what we need. Let me see. Let me delete the rest of the lines that we already created. And let's go ahead and and try that again. But now I'm gonna make this different color. So let me make it color overlay, and I'm going to make it red. So it's way easier to just see it. And let's do this. Okay. And let's try to run that prompt again. So I'm gonna use the use the red sketch to create melting. What is black liquid? Black liquid effect, maybe is what I say here. And then we're gonna send it out and see what happens. If that doesn't work, let's just do it a little bit of the traditional way. I feel like it's always cool to do that. And then we can test out how to add a little bit of color, distortion, a few things here and there, and then also maybe a background, something that plays along this kind of vibe. That could be really cool. And then we just title it and put some type over it. I don't know if it's better to say something like back on Earth or back to Earth. I don't know what the proper thing would be. Okay, so it's doing this. I don't know why it's doing that. It's not following the red. Let me see, black texture. So I'm saying now replace the red paint or the red drawing with melting black texture. Let's see if that picks it up. Yeah, but I like the overall composition of how it's looking over here on the left. The red does make it look scary though. Like it's some kind of like something bad is happening. But it's not. YouTube, it's not, nothing bad is happening. It's just an artwork. Okay, so that's not working. So let's ditch that idea and let's just do it ourselves. So I'm gonna fade it a little bit so we can see it. I'm gonna drop one of these on top. And then I'm going to copy paste a square from here. So let me copy paste it. Copy paste it in place. Sweet. So now we have this helmet thing over here. And we kind of can see on the back where it needs to go. So let's start working on that. So one way would be to like raise it up kind of like this. Kind of like fill up this whole area over here. Probably not great that I'm doing this with the mouse like always, but every time I think about bringing my Wacom into this show or having it for the show, I always have the same kind of issue, which is that I don't have a ton of space here on my desk, and I have so much stuff for the show already on the desk that if I add something else, I feel like it would be very messy. So every show I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to mess it up. And then I end up doing something like this where I'm like, shoot, I wish I had my Wacom. But maybe I need a bigger desk. That's what I need, I think. Goes down. Oh, if I want to flip the image, maybe that's the problem. You think so? I wonder if that's the problem. That's a good idea. You think AI is that smart? That's going to know? Well, it is smart, but I was thinking like, is it going to know that this is upside down and it's not therefore melting? Like, you think it's taking into account like the gravity and all that? I feel like that's crazy if it does. That would be insane. That would be so crazy. Maybe it does. Okay, so I'm gonna do this like this, and then I'm gonna cut it off. Just pushing up, making it bigger. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to kind of play along the kind of like structure. A little thinner here. Thinner. Yeah, so cool thing about it is that we can push, but also we can go sweet, sort of like that. It's looking okay. I like the distortion around it too. It doesn't have to be super perfect. However, I would like it to be a little bit darker. But maybe we can do that by applying a filter like that and doing like something like this towards like darker. And then we can always go in and just erase the edge, do a little light on the edge like that. Yeah, it's kind of working. If it should be a little darker or not sure. Also, I'm not sure if we should make it a tiny bit more messy, like messy like this, like putting some of these things so it feels a little bit more blurry, or if we should make it very sharp. That's what I'm also wondering. I can also like cut it very stray. Another little trick that we can do is that we can do this and pull it up to the edge of that sketch that we had before. Then boom. So we can do, I'm shaping it more to the edge of this sketch that we had. Flip it. Yeah. That's one thing that I like about AI. Is like sometimes it just makes things like this a lot faster when it works. I didn't try to flip it, Marcia. Probably should have. Yeah, this area over here is like needs to be a little darker on the edge, maybe like this. Yeah, maybe we can do the light in a second here. One thing that I used to do a lot on my work when I wanted to do something like this and make it a little bit more like realistic is that I would look for a reflection somewhere online that looked like a TV reflection or something like that. Then I would apply it on top of this edge over here so that it would do it a little bit more easily, or it would look a little bit nicer, I guess. So that's something that we can always do. Let me see. Yeah, because it's really a soft brush, just like with this kind of like thing like this, and then we can always do the direction of it a little smaller. Then we can always boom, do it over here, do it over here. Oops, I painted it in the wrong file, the wrong thing. I want to do it on the edge over here, and do it on the edge over here. And that's the cool thing about some of these things, like you making the things. So I was talking to somebody this week, one of the students that I met on this event, and they were telling me, hey, how do you get to have a style of your own, like something that looks like your work? And what I told them was that your style is a mix of like the things that you don't know how to do well, and that's the way they come out, right? So there's things that I'm not the best at doing. So what I'm doing is that I'm doing them as the way that I can do them, and because they come out all wacky looking and kind of distorted, that becomes my style. So it's a mix of inability. My inabilities with in the way that I figured out how to do things with like my ideas. I feel like that's the perfect definition of this style, right? It's like making something that becomes yours because it's the way that you learn how to do the thing and you didn't have the ability to do it any other way. So you came up with your own way to do it, and now that looks like your work because is the way that you learn how to do them, right? And this is a perfect example of that. I'm doing this. It's not the best probably way to do it or the best looking thing, but it's how I know how to do it, or like at least how I'm doing it right now. So it just kind of like starts looking like my own thing. And I feel like that's more and more valuable with time. In the time of AI, the more you have your own little look, and the more you're figuring out how to do your own thing, the better and more valuable that thing becomes, because it has a special feel to it that is not perfect, but it's yours, and it's just the way that you do it. Yeah, and that's sort of what we're doing here. We went through a whole thing where I was stretching all these I ended up just making it black, so, and adding my own shadow to it. So that was, it's cool to have those little imperfections as well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, so we had another like effect over here, or like this sort of like bubbles happening over here. Yeah. And the cool thing is, like, some of these things, when it comes to like even special effects, is things that you make and they look a certain way. It's almost like you're tricking the brain to think that it looks a certain way, and it's really not, right? So I'm gonna unite all of these things. So that's what it looks like. Let me erase a little bit of this thing over here that's happening. Sweet. Erase some of that. Erase some of this. Yeah. So it's a little bit messy. I feel like the way I did it, I should have started with maybe the shape tool or something like that. But it's okay. It's the vibe. Cool. Let's work on our background real quick, because we're running out of time so quickly this episode. Marsha, thank you for the prompt ideas. You know what? We can probably try those. I'm gonna go ahead and try those on the. Maybe we'll start with this in the next episode and try some of those things to make this look better than this. But right now I can just create a background real quick and kind of give it a sort of like a quick look to the whole thing. That helps us like get there a little bit, or start getting there somewhat, But yeah, you can see how like this is the shapes or like the shadows on this look so bad compared to the other one. Yeah, so maybe now that this is like this, maybe I can now do the AI on top of that and say, make this oil look more realistic and high quality. All right, let's see if it does it. We'll see. This is the last attempt. Imagine a radial gradient background with some dark colors, neon-ish effect. I don't know. Haha. It seems like it would be looking good. Yeah, let's actually try that. Following the red sketch, make a black melting coming out of the. I love that, Marsha. Thank you. Yeah, that prompt is so good. Let me see if I can. Okay, so it did a better job. It might be too sharp looking for the image. It doesn't really match the image that well, but it's obviously way better than what I have. So maybe I can blend it together a little bit. Yeah, why not? Perfect. It's just always, especially lately, I feel like when you produce something with AI inside of Photoshop, it's not matching at all. I don't know why it's not doing that. Okay, so let's remove background on this and try to match it over here. Merge it. Marsha, I need you to help me with prompts. That was so good. I'm the worst at typing stuff out. Okay, is it going to do it? Something else that also I'm struggling with Photoshop lately that I need to see what's going on. So maybe it's because I'm inside of a folder. Sometimes when I'm inside of a folder, it doesn't remove background as easily. Like it doesn't detect. You can see it's happening again here. Delete. So I'm gonna click remove background and it does this again. You see it? So yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. It's just trying to slow me down, huh? Let's try out this radial background that you talked about. Let me create a new document and see if I did that. If we will remove background. It's so interesting that sometimes it has this little. Yeah, it did do it this time. Yeah, some technical difficulties. Okay. Sweet. Let me paint those back in. So all I'm doing here is that I'm trying to delete the background out of this photo. That I don't know why it wasn't doing it on this document. But like I said, sometimes it does these things where it's like it makes a little bit of a tiny bit of a mistake, and it's just things don't work as they should. Right. So that works. Just put it right there. It's a little bit too glossy. A little bit too contrasty for the image, but we're gonna leave it on for now. We're gonna leave it on for now. Let me delete a little bit of this mask. Are we out of time? We're almost out of time, but I want to try that radial background that we talked about and see kind of how that works, if it works in here. I think it should work. Okay. It's kind of good. It's kind of okay. Let's curve and then let's flatten this image a tiny bit. So I'm gonna go curves. Curves has to be one of my favorite tools to do anything. So like, look, how cool is it that, you know, just by doing that, kind of matches so much better right now because I flatten it a tiny bit more. You can add gloss, remove gloss. Like, there's so much you can do with the curves. This is one of my favorite tools. Just makes it so much easy to do things. Like it. Kind of unites it a tiny bit more. I like that maybe. We can also harmonize. It is missing a little bit of the orange color. So color balance. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I agree. Color balance, where are you? Sweet, over here. I'm gonna throw it in. And then we can add a little bit of color balance, a little bit of red. It was missing that as well. So I was looking a tiny bit better. All right, let's go into apply this gradient real quick. So gradient, radial background, gradient like this, maybe. You know what I love? I love the gradients that have a bunch of stops like this. But then doing them like this, like the, you know what I'm talking about? We're doing the, what are these ones called? I can't remember what these are called. What are they called? It was going to show me the name and I just clicked out of it. Angle gradient. Yeah, these angle gradients are so cool because then you can see the lines. If you make it very dramatic on those lines, you'll be able to see these lines happening. And then you can, let me go with these blues. I like these blues. And then we can obviously edit the gradient. And one thing that I like about gradients sometimes is that you can put the colors really close to each other like that. And then you can create or duplicate those lights. So I'm going to do a couple more. Boom, boom. And then yeah, maybe. It looks like a little bit off with the image because the image has a lot more red on it. Like it feels like it's a lot warmer. But it could look cool. Starts looking a little bit iconic, right? Like I like that. I feel like there's a balance between like making something this cool and simple and clean and trying to make it iconic. There's a difference, right? Sometimes when you try to make something a little bit more iconic, you think, for example, album covers and stuff like that, it's okay to make it not make sense, or like make a little bit more artistic decision to to make something a little bit different. We can go back into and try the radial one. Yeah, looks cool too. A little bit bigger. And if this was animated, it would look so cool too. Yeah, so I do like this. I don't know how much I like the colors of it. I do like the structure of it. I feel like the structure of it is cool. Let me see. Make it a tiny bit smaller. Oh, this would be cool too if we did this for the background. Let me move it over here. Or for the bottom of the person, so it looks like it's falling into that. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Look at that. And we could also, let me do this over here. Boom, boom. And then invert. I guess I want to create like a little sunrise, sunset area over here. I like that. Just to support a little bit the idea of that circle. Yeah, this is looking cool. I like this. How do you guys like this? It's looking cool. I like it. I like it. Oh, thank you, Marsha. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're almost out of time. I will send the image. I will send it in Discord so you guys can play with it too. No problem at all. I'll go ahead and send it to you guys in a few minutes. We're not done yet. We got a couple more minutes in here. Yeah, we can keep playing with this, man. I feel like we arrived to something kind of cool towards the end of the episode, and I want to keep playing with it. I just feel like it's so cool. Like that we could do something cool with this. Let me see. Let me flatten this. Yeah, so the same idea of like kind of like the balance, right? We have a lot of blue on the bottom. These lines go up for no reason. They just stay there. So maybe adding a little bit more blue to the top. Maybe also on the subject plus those lines, maybe doing a color balancing here. Boom, color balance. And then adding a little bit of red or maybe a little bit of blue. Maybe we make them look more like the environment. We need to include also this thing in this group. All right. Shoot, I just realized we're running out of time. It's going fast. But I love you guys. It's good to see you guys. It's good to have you here. And it's good to be back doing this. And yeah, this is pretty much what we came up with. We don't have time for anything else. But it's good to see you guys. I'm so excited to keep playing with this. Adding something to the back would be sick. Yeah, thank you, Dino. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, all of you guys, for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Marsha. And thank you for hanging out. I really enjoy making this episode today. And I will see you guys next Thursday. Okay? We'll meet here. I'm going to put this photo on Discord. You guys can create something with it. And I'd love to see what you guys come up with. But thank you so much again for being here. And thank you for hanging out with me. And I love what we created today. It's so interesting. It has a lot of potential. I'm going to keep working on it. We'll see you guys. You guys are the real GOAT. No, you are the GOAT, Dino. You are. I'll see you guys next week. Love you all. Bye. Ciao.